was not that great for me. You might like it. I didn't. And I'm entitled to my opinion, okay? But that's a potential con, all right? I don't want to see y'all attacking me in the comments for my opinions, okay? I'm expressing my opinions. You may have a different experience, but I'm balancing out. Some of y'all just want people to give you pros on countries. I'm not here to do that. I want to balance it out because nowhere's perfect. Hello everyone, welcome back to Anton's class. It's so good to see you back for your next coaching session. All right, if you're new here, my name's Anton and I am all about health and wellness. Anton's class is a culture of wellness, and part of my wellness journey included relocating to Africa for a large portion of 2021, and I will be going back to the motherland in 2022. How about you? Okay, so I coached you on the last coaching sessions about Western Africa, Southern Africa, and on this episode, we're talking about Eastern Africa. All right, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because I want to see you back here for all these wonderful coaching sessions. Well, at least I hope they're wonderful to you and I hope they're beneficial to you. Okay, so please subscribe, hit that little bell notification so that you know whenever Anton uploads another video. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. First country in Eastern Africa I want to talk about is Rwanda because I lived in Rwanda for a time in 2021. It's a beautiful country, which is the first pro that I want to talk about. Rwanda is an incredibly beautiful country. It's very lush. It's very green. The scenery is amazing. Almost anywhere in the city of Kigali, there's a view. No matter if you're in Gisozi sector or if you're near Kimironko or if you're here or there, there's a view of the city or of the greenery. It's lush, it's beautiful. The soil is so fertile, so almost anything grows. You'll see beautiful tropical birds flying around. It's just beautiful, you guys. You really have to see it. Kigali is one of the most beautiful cities I've ever been to. All right, so I highly recommend it. You will have no shortage of beauty while you're in Rwanda. So now let's talk about number 2, safety. Rwanda is an incredibly safe country. Okay, it is one of the safest countries in Africa. All right, they don't play that when it comes to crime and things like that. Of course, there's crime in every country in the world, but it is very diminished in Rwanda, okay, because they don't play that. Rwanda is one of the safest places in the world, and so if you're considering going to Africa, I know that's why Rwanda is on a lot of people's list, okay, because it is incredibly safe. All right, number 3, it's very clean. Rwanda is clean. It's an extremely clean country. All right, they don't play that when it comes to litter, which I love that about Rwanda because I'm not a fan of litter. I love cleanliness. I love order. I love organization. And Rwanda is a very clean country, okay? They penalize littering, okay? And you can see because the streets are clean. It's lovely. It's beautiful. You'll see people cleaning the streets all the time. They keep their country very clean. And Kigali is a shining, clean, beautiful city. All right, I've got to give Rwanda that. Very clean country. Also, there's no corruption in Rwanda. I should say there's a low corruption in Rwanda because nowhere is perfect, but the corruption is so low in Rwanda. So that's another pro. All right. If you're considering Africa, I know some people worry about running into corruption, but Rwanda doesn't play that. Okay. There's very little corruption. So if you're looking to invest in a country in Africa and maybe start a business, it's going to be easier in Rwanda than in some other African countries, to be honest, because there's not as much corruption there, okay? So that's another huge pro to living in Rwanda. I was going to start a business in Rwanda, and I was not afraid to do that. I was not afraid of that process, okay? I wasn't afraid of being hoodwinked or anything like that because they very much take corruption seriously in Rwanda. And so if you're looking to relocate to Africa, Rwanda should be on your list. Okay, so anyways, you guys, what are some of the cons of Rwanda? Well, for me, I didn't stay in Rwanda And yes, I was attacked for that, as I mentioned in a lot of my videos, because every day I get new comments on that video with people attacking me. Anyways, we're not going to talk about that right now. So some of the cons of Rwanda for me are: it is not an English-speaking country yet. Okay, are there English-speaking countries in Africa? Yes. I know some people are thinking, well, why would you go to Africa and expecting English? Because there are indeed English-speaking countries in Africa.
Yes, in my Why I Left Rwanda video, people were attacking me saying, well, you should go back to America if you want people to speak English. This is Africa.
But anyways, Rwanda is not an English-speaking country yet. They are trying to become an English-speaking country, but they aren't yet. Okay, so that's a potential con for you. Another con is lack of press. Okay, they don't have as much freedom of speech, in my experience, in Rwanda as they do in other parts of Africa. Okay, you can go and research that. I'm not going to say too much on this video. All right, you go and do your own research, but that is another con of Rwanda for me. Another con is that it's located in Eastern Africa, so that makes it far from the United States, okay? So if you're going to be going back and forth to the US or Europe and Africa, you have to fly all the way to Doha, Qatar, and then fly into East Africa, okay? So that's one of the cons for me. West Africa, they have direct flights from New York to West Africa, New York to West Africa. If you're going to East Africa, you have to bypass the entire African continent, hit the Middle East, and then bloop, come over to East Africa. That's a con for me. Hopefully it won't be like that all the time. I think Kigali is working on getting flights that go to Accra and then go to the US. So that way you can bypass going all the way past Africa to the Middle East and then coming back, backtracking to Africa thousands of miles. Don't make any sense. But anyways, Rwanda is working on getting more direct flights. But right now, that's a con for me. Another con for me was there was this like a smell in the air in Kigali. I don't know what it was. It was like pollution. I think it was pollution, and it bothered my lungs. Okay, that might not be an issue for you, but it bothered my lungs. Okay, the pollution, I'm not sure exactly where it came from, if it came from the burning of refuse or if it came from the motorbikes or whatever it was, whatever the case may be, the pollution in Kigali bothered me. Okay, it might not be like that outside of Kigali, but in Kigali that bothered my lungs. Okay, it may not bother yours, but it bothered mine. Okay, what's another con? The food wasn't great for me. Okay, they don't have as much variety of seasoning and spices, so the food was not that great for me. You might like it. I didn't, and I'm entitled to my opinion. Okay, but that's a potential con. All right. I don't want to see y'all attacking me in the comments for my opinions. Okay, I'm expressing my opinions. You may have a different experience, but I'm balancing out. Some of y'all just want people to give you pros on countries. I'm not here to do that. I want to balance it out because nowhere's perfect, including Rwanda. Rwanda is not a perfect country. Don't get it twisted. All right. So these are the pros and the cons. All right. There are other cons, but I'm going to leave it at that. Next country in East Africa, Kenya. All right. Let's talk about Kenya. Kenya is a beautiful country as well. I have not been to Kenya, but I plan to go. One of the pros is it's beautiful. It's a beautiful country. There's a lot of diverse landscapes. It has beaches. Okay, that was another con of Rwanda, is there's no ocean. Kenya has a coastline, right? I love the beach, and I think that's beautiful. Kenya has places like Mombasa, which have these beautiful beaches, okay? And so if you love the beach, then Kenya might be the place for you, all right? Another pro of Kenya is that in Nairobi, the capital, there's not as much malaria. I think it might actually be free of malaria, maybe because the elevation of the location. Now, that is a huge pro for me. That's why I like Namibia as well, which I forgot to mention in the Namibia video, is there's no malaria in 90% of Namibia. Okay, just the very northern part. But in Windhoek and Swakopmund, there's no malaria. Anyways, in Kenya, malaria exists, but I believe in Nairobi, correct me if I'm wrong, in Nairobi, malaria is not endemic in that area. Okay, so that's a plus. And Nairobi is the capital of Kenya. English is spoken widely and openly in Kenya. That is another pro. Okay, they speak English as an official language in Kenya. All right, so you won't have an issue with that. With language, they also speak Swahili, and I always say learn a local language if you go to Africa. Okay, if I was staying in Rwanda, I would have learned Kinyarwanda, but you can hit the ground running when you arrive in a country and you already speak one of the lingua franca of that country. So in Kenya, they do speak English. Okay, so you won't have an issue. That is one of the major languages that they speak in Kenya. All right, they instruct it in schools. It is a governmental language. Okay, so you can go to Kenya, hit the ground running, maybe start a business, whatever it is you want to do, because you speak English. If you're watching this video, I'm assuming. All right. They also speak Swahili, so you can learn Swahili as well. Okay. Other pros. Let's think of another pro. It is a pretty powerful economy in Africa. Okay. They are trying to invest in education and infrastructure and things of that nature. And of course, it has that coast, right? So the fact that it has oceans means it has ports, which means there's trade, right? So Kenya is in a good position. It's in a good position because it's located near Ethiopia, another powerhouse in Africa. It's located by Rwanda. It's located near Tanzania and Uganda. And of course, it has that coast on the east, on the Indian Ocean, on the eastern side of Africa. So that is another pro of Kenya. All right, there's a lot of diversity there. That's another pro. And I heard that their food is pretty good too. All right, I don't know because I haven't been there. So anyways, you guys, let's talk about some cons real quick. Okay, now again, I haven't been to Kenya yet, but I would say one of the cons is potential cons are the mosquitoes and the malaria. Okay, yes, there's malaria in Kenya, and I know some Westerners are afraid of traveling to regions where there is malaria. Okay, there's also malaria in Rwanda, but anyways, in Kenya, that is something that you potentially have to deal with. All right. Another con is that there is a little more corruption, from what I've heard, in Kenya than in other countries like Rwanda or Namibia. Okay, so if you're going to Kenya, that might be something you have to research and be prepared for. Okay, when you're deciding on a country in Africa. All right. They're working on that. I know no country's perfect, okay, but that is something that I've heard of when people travel to Kenya. So that's something you're going to have to be wary of. That's something you're going to have to be prepared for, all right? Any other cons that I could think of? Honestly, no. I think Kenya is a beautiful option. It's also in Eastern Africa, so I think the climate's a little bit more temperate, especially in Nairobi. So, yep. All right, that's it for Kenya. Let's go ahead and head on over to Tanzania. I know a lot of you guys are interested in Tanzania, so let's talk about Tanzania, or Tanzania, as African Americans or Americans call it. Tanzania. You guys, subscribe if you haven't already. Take a sip of your drink. Tanzania. Let's talk about some of the pros of this beautiful country in which so many diasporans are relocating. All right, you have traveling sister. You have, she's really one of the only ones I know. There's a young brother who's relocated there. There are several Afro-Americans who have relocated to Tanzania, as well as Afro-Europeans. Some of the pros of Tanzania are, it's a beautiful country, okay? Eastern Africa seems to really be having these incredibly beautiful countries with beautiful vistas. So you have Arusha, Tanzania, which is at the base of Mount Kilimanjaro, which is an incredibly beautiful location. You have coastal Tanzania, which with Dar and Zanzibar, with these beautiful beaches, these incredibly picturesque areas, all right? And then you have more grasslands. You just, there's such a diverse terrain in Tanzania that I don't think you'll get bored, okay? There's so many beautiful locations in Tanzania. Another pro is the diversity. You have all these beautiful ethnic groups living there. You have the Swahili, you have the Maasai people, you have a pretty developed diasporan community there. So to me, that's a pro, okay? The diversity there means there's going to be a range of experiences for you, all right? Another pro is it's affordable. I've heard Tanzania is pretty affordable. Okay, yes, it could get expensive. Yes, I'm not saying it's going to be all around more cheap, okay, but it can be more affordable, of course, than living in the West, like much of Africa, okay? So in Tanzania, it's pretty affordable, all right? I think it's more affordable than Kenya. Don't quote me on that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know. But I believe it's more affordable than Kenya and some other African countries, all right? Now, let's talk about some of the potential cons. Okay, one con is that it is not an English-speaking country. For some of you, that's a con. For some of you, it may not be. Are there English-speaking people there? Absolutely. But they speak Swahili. So if you go to Tanzania, you should be prepared to learn Swahili. And I know most of you watching this who have researched Tanzania know that very well. Okay, so you're going to go to Tanzania and expect Swahili to be spoken, which is a beautiful language. And I hear it's not too difficult to learn. All right. So go ahead and check out Tanzania if you're interested. What are some of the other cons? Of course, there's malaria there as well, and that's something that you have to look out for. It's in many African countries. I know they're working on ways to eradicate malaria, but it is something that you have to be prepared for. Okay, check out Southern Africa if you're not really down with malaria. Okay, Namibia, South Africa, Botswana. But anyways, in East Africa, including Tanzania, I think malaria is endemic to that country, from the coastal regions to the other regions as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that is based on my research. Okay, what are some other cons? You know what? I can't really think of any. Another pro is Tanzania is on the coast, so trade, right? There's a lot of trade going on there. There's this delicious seafood, etc. All right, you guys. Anyways, you guys, that about wraps up this video about Eastern Africa. I wanted to talk about Ethiopia, but I only had 24 hours there, and honestly, I haven't heard of too many expats relocating to Ethiopia. I want to go actually spend more time in Addis Ababa and maybe venture outside of Addis Ababa. Click up here or up there if you haven't seen my video on Addis Ababa yet. But anyways, you guys, I did want to talk about Ethiopia, but I don't feel prepared just yet because I want to get more information on that place. All right, so one more con about Tanzania that I really wanted to mention. As a foreigner, you are not allowed to buy land there. Okay, I think that's the case. If something's changed, let me know. And I understand that because they want to protect the land rights for the locals. Okay, but I know a lot of African Americans want to be treated as locals and they want to have access to purchasing land. In Rwanda, you can buy land, okay? And in Ghana, you can buy land. Okay, in the Gambia, you can buy land. So that's something to consider in Tanzania. You as an African American or as an American or European or whatever, wherever you're coming from, as a foreigner, I believe you can't buy land. So anyways, you guys, thank you for stopping by Anton's class. This was the final episode in helping you choose a country. I will have other coaching sessions. All right, so let's journey together. Let's get well together. And thank you for stopping by Anton's class. I hope to see you back here soon. Bye.